back to another video. As you can see, we are reunited with the kitchen once again, and I am bringing you, due to popular demand, another baking video. But today, instead of it being health fair, we're going all out and just doing some of my favourite sweet treats. So today I'm going to be bringing you 4 recipes, 2 that I have sort of used over the years. Well, I mean, one is one of my mum's absolute classics, and anyone in my family will know this recipe, and everybody requests it when we go to family barbecues, family events. It is just, what do you call it, Mum? A classic, it's like your trademark. That's it. It's my mum's trademark dessert. That is what it is. So you are in for a treat today with that one, because she doesn't tell anyone that recipe. I've also got to share with you a loaf cake, which is a little twist on a lemon drizzle. I used to do this so often back in the day. It was just one of those recipes I actually forgot about. So I'm going to be sharing that one too. And then the other 2 recipes that I'm going to be sharing today are recipes that I just sort of did on the spot. You know when you have leftovers in your cupboard? So I had some raspberries that I needed using up, and bananas. So they were sort of ones that I sort of made up on the spot, adapted a few recipes that I looked at on the internet. But anyway, I'm not going to ramble too much in the intro. I'm going to get straight onto the video. So if you want to see 4 sweet treat recipes today that definitely aren't low on the calories, but hey, it's lockdown. Enjoy yourself. Give yourself a treat. I know that I just love doing a little bit of baking on Sunday, and there's nothing better than homemade cakes or desserts, treats, whatever you want to call them. So anyway, without further ado, if you want to see 4 delicious sweet treat recipes, then please continue watching.
Okay guys, so first up we're going to get started with an orange and white chocolate loaf cake. Now I know this sounds a little bit random, but trust me, these flavours complement each other and work so well together. Now the recipe for this is actually a bit of a classic for me. I've been using it for many years, and the base of this recipe works so well as a lemon drizzle, a lemon and white chocolate. So by all means, alter this and do it to what you like the best. If that's lemon, then do lemon, but trust me, this is a very moist and just delicious recipe. So let me show you how to make it. Okay, so just a quick one before we start. Something that I love to do before I start my baking is weigh everything out. Rather than do it as I go, I like to weigh it all out before I start the recipe. That way, it just makes it a lot more enjoyable. So maybe a little tip. Also, this is my Von Chef mixer, which I very kindly got gifted by Von Chef. It is so incredible. If you haven't got one, I would definitely recommend investing in one of these if you bake quite often, because it saves your hands so much. So first things first, I'm simply just taking some butter at room temperature and some sugar. I'm just going to be popping those into the mixer and just creaming those together. By the way guys, I just wanted to mention you definitely don't need an electric mixer to do this. You can just use a normal whisk. This is just obviously easier and it just helps your arms loads. But yeah, you just want to make sure it goes light and fluffy, and then you're ready to move on. Okay, then I'm adding in my orange zest and lemon zest. So there's a little bit of orange, a little bit of lemon in here. So I'm just popping that in. Like I said, if you want to make a straight lemon cake, then you can just change this to pure lemon zest. Even a little bit of lemon juice in as well. I honestly just tailor and just play around with my recipes and just try different things. Once your zests are all mixed in, you're then going to take your egg mixture and just gradually add this in. Now, I do like to start my electric mixer midway through and just give everywhere a stir, just because sometimes it sticks to the sides and obviously you want it mixed all through the mixture. Then I'm just going to sieve my flour into the mixture and then gently fold this in. Don't overbeat this. It really just needs to be lightly folded in, because we don't want to knock all of that air out. Then you're going to take your milk and slowly add this in. I say slowly, you can just add this in all in one go, to be honest with you, but I just like to gradually add it, and it will just start to form the mixture. But it's too late now. I just miss you. And then once that is all mixed in, you can then just take your white chocolate, which I have just cut up into small chunks, and you can just pop that in. Okay, once that is all mixed together, you're then going to take your loaf tin, and I've just lined it using a loaf liner, and you're simply just going to spoon it into the loaf tin. And then once I've spooned it in, I then just like to take the back of my spoon just to go over it and make sure it's all evenly distributed in the tin. going to pop it in the oven for around 45 to 50 minutes. I'd probably check at 40, just put a little skewer in. If it comes out clean, then it's cooked. If it's still like wet, then obviously it needs a little longer. Right, now, whilst that is in the oven, I'm going to make my syrup that is going to go over the top of the cake when it comes out of the oven. This is very simple. All you simply need for this is juice of 1 orange, juice of half a lemon, and 100 grams of caster sugar. I've then just grabbed my cake out of the oven, and then as soon as it is out the oven, you just want to pierce all over with a skewer and spoon the syrup over. You might not need to use it all, but I would definitely be generous because this makes the inside super moist and super tasty. So yeah, be as generous as you would like with this. You're then going to take some white chocolate and simply melt this. I'm just using the hob to do this. Just make sure you don't burn it, whatever you do, because it melts very quickly when you do it this way. So yeah, just going to melt that white chocolate, and then I'm just going to grab a piping bag, pop the white chocolate melted into the piping bag. You can just use a spoon for this. You don't need a piping bag. So if you want to just get a spoon and drizzle it over, that's absolutely fine. And then yeah, I'm just going to pipe it over the cake. I actually forgot to press play when I did this, so yeah, that's why I'm only doing a couple of lines just to try and demonstrate. And then yeah, that is the finished cake. Honestly, this recipe is amazing. It's so delicious. Enjoy. Start from the ground. Next up, we're going to be making raspberry filled centre muffins. This was a recipe that I was sort of making up as going along, to be honest with you. I had a look at a few raspberry muffin recipes, but yeah, ended up adapting this and just making it totally something different because I had some raspberries to use up, you see, so this is why. So first of all, you're going to sift some flour into a mixing bowl and then take your sugar and just combine this together. I'm then just going to take my milk and add it to my 1 egg that I cracked into the cup, and just take a fork and just mix that together. Once that is all mixed, I'm then just going to add it to the flour and sugar mixture that we just did, and then I'm going to use a paddle attachment for this. So I'm just going to slowly pop that in, and then I'll also take my oil as well and just whack that in all together. So one key thing with this step is that you don't want to over mix it. So the batter should be very slightly lumpy, and if it is slightly lumpy, that's absolutely fine. Don't be alarmed at that because that's how it should be. Next, I'm going to be adding in my raspberries, and I'm also popping in some white chocolate. Now, I didn't actually have a lot of white chocolate, so I didn't really taste much of this. So you can add more, you can leave this out, you can just do raspberries. It's entirely up to you. And then I'm just simply stirring those in. I'm then going to take my pre-lined muffin cases and just spoon the mixture into those, and then they're going to go in the oven for around about 20 to 25 minutes or just until lightly golden.
Okay guys, so here are the finished muffins. I actually completely forgot to film the last bits that I did, the finishing touches. So you can obviously just leave your muffins as is. I didn't put that much white chocolate in mine though, so they were slightly missing a little something. So what I decided to do is just pipe in a little bit of seedless raspberry jam and also some buttercream. Mine was actually cream cheese buttercream, but you can just use plain buttercream because it can be a little bit fiddly. So all you simply want to do is just make a little hole, so you can just use like a little skewer or something. Just make a tiny hole, get a piping bag, and then just pipe in a little bit of jam, then take your buttercream, pipe in a little bit of buttercream, then it's just going to give you a really nice like gooey centre of jam and buttercream, and just sprinkle, well, sieve a little bit of icing sugar on the top as well. And honestly, these are absolutely delicious. So yeah, I'll leave just a simple buttercream recipe in the description bar if you don't know how to make that. But yeah, really, really simple, but makes all the difference to them. So enjoy.
Okay, next up we're going to be making a banana and chocolate chip loaf cake. This is the first time I actually made this recipe, so there is probably one adjustment I would do, but this was so delicious all the same. Honestly, this was so good. So in a mixing bowl, all you're going to simply do is cream together some softened butter and your sugar. You then want to take your mashed bananas. So mine was super ripe, so the riper the better, guys, the better the taste. You want the consistency of your mashed bananas to be as of like applesauce, like chunky applesauce. And then you can also take your eggs and just add that to the batter too. Once that's mixed together, you're then going to take your baking powder and your plain flour. Now, I would actually change this to self-raising flour. I felt like mine didn't rise as much as I wanted it to, so I definitely, going forward, use self-raising and try that out. I mean, I haven't tried it, guys, but I can't see that it would change it too much other than just make it rise a little bit more, which is what I want. So yeah, I'm going to do it with self-raising next time. Then I'm just adding some vanilla essence in and some chocolate. I had some plain and some milk and dark chocolate chips, but whatever you want. You could add white chocolate, milk, dark, whatever you fancy. And simply just take your loaf tin. I've pre-lined mine with just a loaf case, and yeah, just simply spoon it in, and then again just smooth the mixture just so it's distributed evenly. Then going to pop it in the oven for around 55 to 60 minutes, but as always, just keep an eye on it because every oven is different. And then I didn't actually get a shot when it came out of the oven because I was so hungry. I already had a slice. Like I said, this tastes amazing. As you can see, it didn't rise as much as I wanted it to, but honestly, it didn't take away from the taste. This still tasted so, so good. Okay, so the one you have all been waiting for, last but certainly not least, my mum's famous Millionaires shortbread. This is an absolute speciality of my mum's. She makes it for every family barbecue, every family occasion. It goes down an absolute treat. My family love it. My cousin actually messaged me earlier like, Laura, you can't be putting Auntie Karen's famous shortbread recipe on the internet. It's like a family heirloom. So yeah, if you can crack this recipe, it is that delicious. So first things first, you're simply going to take some butter at room temperature, your sugar, pop it into a bowl, and I'm just taking my hand mixer for this. You don't need the freestanding one. You're not overly going to whisk this. Just simply combine it. It doesn't have to be light and fluffy. You're not baking a cake. Once that is all combined, you're then going to stir in your flour, and once you've stirred it in, you're then going to get your hands in, so make sure they're clean, and you're going to bring it all together. So you want to bring it all together so it goes into like a ball, you know, so it all combines together. You'll see what I mean as you watch what I'm doing. So once you've kneaded it together, it should start to come together like it is in the bowl now, and it will look something like this. You're then just going to dust a little bit of flour over your work surface so it doesn't stick, and then you're just going to take a rolling pin and just lightly roll it out. Don't be too rough with this, and make sure you move it around each time you roll it so again it doesn't stick to your work surface. I like to roll it just because you want it to be sort of, you know, the same consistency in the tray. You don't want some to be higher and some to be lower, if that makes sense. So yeah, don't be alarmed if it breaks when you try and put it in as well, because like I said, it doesn't matter. It just makes it easier to roll first, and then you've sort of got it a little bit level, if that makes sense. Then just get your fingers and just press it all together. Make sure it all meets so there's no like gaps or holes. And then once you've pressed that down, it should look something like this. You're then going to pop that on the middle shelf for around about 20 minutes. Keep an eye on it. You don't want to overcook it. You don't want to undercook it. It should just have a slight bit of colour. So when it's got a slight bit of colour, you can then take it out. And by the way, I did line that tray with tin foil. Make sure you do that because it's just going to be easier for you to get the caramel shortbread out at the end. Right, whilst that is in the oven, you're then going to take a saucepan. Now, you need to make sure you're using a good saucepan for this, so preferably like a heavy saucepan or a non-stick saucepan. And then you're just going to combine and add all of your ingredients together, so just whack them all into the pan. So you've got your butter, your brown sugar, your condensed milk. If you're anything like me, you'll be licking the spoon of the condensed milk too. Oh my god, how good does condensed milk taste, guys, really? So yeah, anyway, back to what we was doing. You're then going to take some golden syrup, and I also added in some butterscotch as well. So this is optional. You don't need to add in butterscotch. It is an optional extra, but it just gives it a little bit more taste, like just a bit of a different taste. I don't know, it's just nice. So you can either add butterscotch, maple syrup, or vanilla essence, whatever you sort of want to flavour it with. But like I said, it is optional. I did end up putting about 2 tablespoons of that in. I just put a little bit in to begin with, but yeah, anyway, right. Key thing here, guys, is you have to keep using your wooden spoon and mixing. Do not stop mixing. You don't want it to stick to the bottom. It can very easily stick to the bottom if you stop mixing. And you're going to be mixing for around about 5 to 7 minutes until it starts to go thick. As you can see now, it's got thicker, the colour's changed. So yeah, that is what you want to achieve. Okay, so by the time you prepared your caramel filling, your shortbread should be done. So this is the colour you sort of want to achieve. Like I said, just as it's slightly starting to turn colour, but you don't want to overcook it and you don't want to undercook it. So it is a bit tricky, but like I said, around about 20 minutes. By the way, this is the consistency you need your caramel filling. So can you see that like ribbon effect, that like ripple in the like sauce? That's how it needs to be, because it needs to go thick once we set it. So it's quite key that you get that consistency. So once you've put that on your base, you're then going to just leave that to cool. Then once it's cooled down, pop it into the fridge, but like make sure it's cool first. Don't obviously pop it into the fridge when it's hot. Okay, moving on to the final step, which is the chocolate topping. Now, first bit of advice here would be to use nice chocolate. So use Dairy Milk or Galaxy. I mean, it's personal preference, but I wouldn't use any like cheap co-op chocolate or anything like that. No offense, co-op, but yeah, it's got to be nice tasting chocolate. So you're just simply going to melt it. So I'm just using the hot water method. So hot water in a bowl and then just pop your chocolate in another bowl. Put it over the top and just melt it. Don't burn it. This is why I don't like to do it in the microwave, because sometimes that way you can burn your chocolate. And then just simply, once it's melted, spoon it over to your set caramel shortbread base. And then you can make like a little design in it if you want. By the way, I'm in my pajamas here just in case you're wondering, because they're quite short, them shorts are. But yeah, you can make like little effects on the top. So I've just used the back of my spoon just to make a nice sort of, I don't know, what is that? And then again, you just want to pop it into the fridge to set. Leave it for about an hour, 2 hours, just so it's set. And then you're going to take your tin foil off. Like I said, it's so easy to take the tin foil off. And yeah, that is it, guys. I feel like I'm going at a million miles an hour. But yeah, that is it, guys. That is the finished Millionaires shortbread. Cut it up however you would like, by the way. Squares, triangles. But that is it. My mum's secret Millionaire shortbread. I hope you enjoy it because it is so delicious.
Anyway guys, that brings us to the end of this sweet treat bacon video. I really hope you have enjoyed it. Do let me know in the comments bar if you want to see more bacon cooking videos. Yeah, I'm open to suggestions, so do let me know. If you do recreate any of these as well, do tag me in them on Instagram, because I love seeing when you guys like recreate the recipes. Yeah, my Instagram handle is in the description bar, just in case you aren't following me over there. Anyway, I'm gonna scoot. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button, and I shall see you all in my next video. Bye bye. You watching me? Are you watching me?